Good evening, dear students. My name is Sheikh Zakira Begum, lecturer in commerce, TSWRDC Suryapet. Today, I want to discuss about this simple and very important topic for commerce students is subsidiary books. So, subsidiary books means subsidiary books also called as book of original entry. So, let me share the screen now. So, what do you mean by subsidiary books? It is a primary book of journal entries. So, it is also called as book of original entry because we can write all the transactions, similar nature of transaction we will record in this book in one place in a chronicle order. According to date, we can post in this subsidiary book. So all the business big concerns recording all the transaction in one journal is very difficult to post all the transaction. So it involves lot of clerical work. For that purpose, we are subdividing all the journals into subsidiary books. Okay, so all the subdivided journals are called as a subsidiary books. So how many types of subsidiary books are there? We are divided subsidiary books into 8 types. So first is the purchase day book. We can call it as purchase day book or purchase book anyway. Next, second, sales book or sales day book. Third one, purchase returns book. Fourth, sales returns book. Fifth, bills receivables book. And sixth, bills payable book. And seventh, cash book. And last one, eighth one, journal proper. So we are dividing subsidiary books into 8 types. Let me discuss you about one by one what are the books we are maintaining. First of all, we will discuss about purchase book. So what do you mean by purchase books? Purchase book in the subsidiary books, it is the first book we have to prepare. So here we can record all the credit purchases and credit goods in this book. We can write only credit purchases. So we can write all the credit purchases only. So where we can write cash purchases? Cash, all the cash receipts and cash payments or cash purchases and sales will be we will write in cash book. So all the credit transaction we can write in the all credit purchases we can write in the purchase book. Okay, so this will not record any cash purchase or credit purchase of any assets. We cannot take into consideration while we are purchasing an asset. Only if we purchase goods on goods, that only we can write in the purchase book. So if we are purchasing any asset, we cannot write it in the purchase book. Only credit purchases we can write in this purchase book. So let me show you pro forma purchase book. Here it is. All of you see carefully. So pro forma purchase book, we have 6 columns here. First consists of date and particulars, invoice number, ledger folio. LF number means ledger folio number, amount, and remarks if any. This is the pro forma for purchase book. So we will see another second book, that is sales book. What do you mean by this? All the credit sales we can write in the sales book. So sales book is mainly used for recording of all the credit sales of goods and services in the organization. So in this sales book we cannot record any cash sales or asset sales because it is meant for only credit purchases of goods and services only. Okay, so next see here pro forma of sales book. So as we have already seen the purchase book pro forma, likewise it is also same pro forma for sales book. date, particular, invoice number, ledger folio number, and amount and remarks. This is the pro forma for sales book. Next, purchase returns book. What do you mean by this? Purchase returns means if we purchase some item, that item consists of any for some quality and quantity they have sent, but we cannot satisfy with the quantity or quality, we can return our goods. So that is called purchase returns. After purchasing goods, if you are not satisfying with the quality or quantity, so we can return our goods, so that all the purchase return can be recorded in the purchase return book. So this is maintained to record all the transactions of goods returned to the supplier when purchased on credit. So we are writing all the credit purchases in the purchase book. We can write all the returns of purchase returns on credit. Okay, on credit basis, what we have purchased, that returns only we can write in the purchase returns books. So here, all of you see carefully what are the pro forma for purchase returns book. So it consists of date, particulars. Here specially we can write debit note number. So debit note is related to what? Purchase return books. This question you may get in any competitive exam like your MCOM entrance and Central University's MCOM entrance test, any test. So they will ask you, debit note will be given for debit note will be right in which book? Purchase returns book. So let me give you a brief idea about the pro forma of purchase return book. It consists of date, particulars, debit note number, ledger folio number, details for what is the detail reason for returning your goods. Next to total amount which you are returning, remarks if any. Okay, so this is the pro forma for purchase returns books. Next, sales returns book. Sales return means if we are selling goods to the other people or other consumers, if they don't satisfy with our services, with our goods, they may return our goods back. So that will be called as sales returns. For sales return also we have to maintain a book, that is sales return book. So this book is used to record all the goods returned by the customers, um, which goods are sold on credit. Okay, which goods are sold on credit. So we have a pro forma, same pro forma here, pro forma of sales return books. In the here we have written date, particulars. Here we have to write not debit notes, so we have to edit this with, it is credit note. I'll correct it. So instead of debit note, we have to write it as credit note number when sales returns are there. Ledger folio number, details, totals and remarks. So credit note related to sales returns. Okay. So next, let me move on to the next book, that is bills receivable book. What do you mean by bills receivable? This is used to record the transaction when the bills are received from the customer for credit sales. If you are selling our goods on credit basis, the customer will give you a bill. So that is bills receivable book. We can write all the bills in that. We will note all the bills in the bills receivable book. Okay, this provide medium for posting bills receivable transaction. We may write all the transactions related to credit sales. Okay, so when we are giving credit sales to the customer, so we will receive some bills, so all the bills details will be posted in bills receivable book. So the preparation of this book involves a date when received. So pro forma I have not mentioned here. So we have a pro forma for date when we are received that bill, and who will be the dryer, who will be the acceptor, where payable, date of the bill, term, due date, ledger folio, amount, remark. These are the columns we will have in the bills receivable book. Next, bills payable book means it is useful to record all the acceptances given to the supplier for credit purchase. So as a business people, we also purchase some goods on credit. So on that for that purpose we have to give some bills to the supplier. So where we can purchase for the purchase good for on credit basis. So all the details of bills payable uh, uh, can be posted in the bills payable book. So the preparation of bills payable book involves date of acceptance, giver, payee, who will be the payee, where payable, where we have to pay, and date of bill, and what is the term of bill, what is the due date, and ledger folio number, amount, and etc. Any remarks. So it is the pro forma of bills receivable book. Next, cash book. It is a very important book in the subsidiary books. So cash book is used to record all the cash receipts and payments. So all the cash transaction we can write in this cash book. So for the preparation of cash book, there are different rules available according to the nature of the business. So different form of cash book are as follows. We have to prepare different types. I mean different forms. In different forms we are going to prepare cash book. So cash book may be in simple cash book we will prepare, or double two column cash book, three column cash book. Simple cash book means it is a simple form of cash book. The pro forma will be very simple. Two column cash book. In this two column cash book, we have to mention date, particulars, and ledger folio number, and we will write a discount column and bank column, cash bank column. Uh, Sorry, here we have two columns only, here cash and discount column. Next, in the triple column or three column cash book, it involves three columns such as bank column, cash column, and discount column. In the two column cash book, we have to mention only two columns, that is cash and discount. We cannot mention bank here. In the triple column cash book, we have to mention three columns like cash column, bank column, and discount column in the both sides. Okay, petty cash book. What do you mean by petty cash book? So it is used to record all the petty expenses which are involving in day-to-day business. So what are the expenses we will spend? Small expenses like postage, cartridge, and printing, and stationery, etc. These all the small transaction we will write in a petty cash book. So next, pro forma triple column cash book I have mentioned here. So date, particulars, ledger folio number, cash column, bank column, discount. Discount. If we can in the cash book, if the left hand side we can write it as discount allowed to the customer. Discount how much we have allowed. And in the next right side or credit side, we mention date, particular, ledger folio number, cash, bank, and discount received. So how much discount we have received, that should be written in this column. Next, last subsidiary book is journal proper. What do you mean by this? This book is prepared for the purpose of the entries are the transaction which we are not written on above 5-7 journals. The entries which we are not allowing to write in the above journal, I mean books. Okay, above subsidiary books, the transaction which we are not writing in a 7 subsidiary books, we can write in a journal proper. So journal proper is a book of original entry, simple journal in which miscellaneous credit transaction uh, we can write in the journal proper. It is also called miscellaneous journal. So miscellaneous journal, uh, the form and procedure for maintaining this journal is the same as the simple journal. Where how to prepare this journal proper is it is very simple to prepare and like any other journal. So the use of journal proper is confined to record all the following transaction. What are the transaction we have to mention here in the journal proper is while we are writing opening entries and closing entries, and if any transfer entries from one account to another account, when we are writing transfer entries we can write in the first enter into the journal proper. Next to any adjustment entries we can post in the journal proper. Next to rectification entries, if any errors are there, we have to rectify that error. So that error, that rectification of entries we will mention in this journal proper. So entries for which there is no specific journal. So if the entries which are not mentioned in the above journals will be mentioned in this. So entries for rare transaction, this will we will write in this journal. So this is about all the subsidiary books. So I hope everybody has understand this topic, and in the next class we will share with the another new topic. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.